Hello, Koen Verbeek here, and welcome to my latest Internet of Things project, the line following robot car. So, like I said, the main goal of this car is to follow a black line on the floor. Normally, it has to follow, for the assignment, it has to follow a white line, but in my case, as you can see, the color of my floor is really bright, so it would not make sense to test it out with a white line, but it's just a matter of changing some parameters in the code and you can change it to a white line if you want. But as you can see, I've created a parcours, as we call it, all the way around the table using some black 16mm white tape. Now, so like I said before, the main function of the car is to follow that line, but there are other features also. So for example, as you can see, we have an ultrasound sensor for measuring distance. For example, if there is an object in the way, then the car will stop. If that object is moving away from the car, then the car will follow it at a certain distance. So that's for, let's say, for COVID precautions. So we don't want, if you have several cars, we don't want the cars to be too close to each other. You can also see we have some LEDs on the top. We have a green one, a yellow one, and a red one. These will signal to the control center. So they have cameras installed there and they can monitor the LEDs, and then they're able to know if there's something happening to the car. For example, if it's green, all is good. If it's yellow, then an object is detected in front of the car using the ultrasound sensor. And if the red LED would be lit up, then there is an issue. Then the car has lost the line or the track. So then the car will stop. And so another feature that we have is the car will use a servo for steering. You see the front wheels. If you look closely inside, you can see that there is a little gear in there. That's the black part in there is a servo, and that will be used to steer the front wheels. So if you look right here, then you see the 3 line following sensors. So on the back we also have a display for certain events. That was not necessary for the assignment, but I found it a cool feature. So we can see what is going on with the car. For example, here you can see that it has detected a black perpendicular line. As you can see, we have in some areas of the tracks we have some perpendicular lines. And that's a line where the car will stop. So if the 3 sensors, the line tracking sensors detect a perpendicular line on the track, then the car will stop for a certain amount of time. And that's to give the persons that are inside the car the time to look at an exhibition. Now you can also see that there is a timer and it counts down for 10 seconds. If the timer runs out, then the car will start moving again, but I will show you later. You see, okay, drive, so the car will start driving again. But if you don't want to wait for that, you can also make the car move again by pressing this button. So you see, it's when I press it, voila. So that's, for example, if there is an exhibit and the people inside the car don't want to look at that exhibit for a long time or don't want to look at it at all, they can just press the button. Now, other cool feature is that we can, I don't know if you can see it, and we can use our cell phone to remotely control some features on the car. For example, the headlights and the taillights. This application is connected to my Blink server, which is running over here. So that's a Raspberry Pi running the Blink server. And some cool things that we can do is, for example, by using the app, we can turn on, over Wi-Fi, we can turn on the headlights, for example. The taillights. We can also do this while driving. It's a nice thing. Or when the car has stopped in front on a perpendicular line, we can also control the lights. Okay, so I showed you already the button. So we have the hardware button, but we also have a software button. So here you can see it's the timer is running, but we can also click this button and it will just do exactly the same thing as the hardware button. So that's for the control center to, for example, if there are many cars waiting in line and the control center wants to speed up things, they can force the cars to start moving again. Another feature that we have is that it will detect also distance. So that will also be displayed on the monitor as well, but we will see that later in the video. So the first thing I want to show now is the main feature, and that's the car following the black line around the track. So all the way around my table. So that's the first feature I will show you next. What happens to the car if it detects a perpendicular line? So that's a perpendicular line. So let's set that up. So as you will see, you can monitor that on the display. We can see that a line was detected and the timer will start running, like you can see here. And so it's there's an exhibit and time is the time is running out. So we can see what happens when the time runs out. So there are three cases. First case is the timer runs out, the car starts driving again. Second case is if you don't want to wait, the people inside the car can press that hardware button over here and the car will start moving. And the third scenario is that the control center will push this virtual button and also the car will start moving again. So the next feature is what happens when the car detects a perpendicular line. Like in this case, you will see that the car will stop for the set timer value and it's counting down. And when the timer reaches 0, then the car starts driving. Yeah, like you see right here. And then it will continue its path. Let's test it again and let's demonstrate the second scenario. And the second scenario is that the people inside the car don't want to wait and they press the hardware button. See, now it doesn't wait for the counter to count down, but it will continue its path right away. The last case, the control center does not want to wait for the car to start, for the timer to run out, I mean. So what we can do is we can press the virtual button and the car will start moving again and continue its path. Another feature I want to demonstrate now is what happens when the car detects an obstruction. For example, in this case, we see there are no obstructions in its path. So we can see that here. So it's configured that when an object is in 20 centimeters of the sensor, the ultrasonic sensor right here, then the car will stop. So now you see there is no obstruction within 20 centimeters. So I don't know if you can see it clearly, but the green LED is turned on right now, okay? If we introduce an obstruction, like this box for example, then you see that the yellow LED will switch on, the green will switch off, and you can see the distance is less than 20 centimeters and the car will stop. Remove the obstruction. Okay, so let's demonstrate that right now. Alright, so let's find out what happens when the car detects an obstruction like the robot right now. You see, the car detected the robot as an obstruction. We can see that the yellow LED turned on and the car is stopped. So this is a bit tricky to film, but let's see what happens when the obstruction is moving away. You can see now that the car will continue its path. So now we come to the last feature. So what we want here now is, so in normal conditions when the car is driving and there are no issues, and the car is driving, following the track, and the green LED is lit on. So now I want to demonstrate what happens when the car has lost track of the line. So in that case, after a certain amount of time, we want the car to fully stop, stay stopped, and we want the red LED to lit in this case. Once we put the car on the track once more, it will continue its journey and the green LED will turn on. So let's demonstrate that right now. So we see now that the car is following the track, but I'm pushing it on the track, and now a timer starts running, and you see red LED turned on and the car fully stopped and remains halted. Now, when I pick up the car, put it on the track, give it some time for the timer to run out. I can push the button, but that's really difficult with one hand. Let's give it one more second. Okay. See, it found the line again, and it will continue its journey. And of course, it will stop at the black line. So those are all the features I wanted to demonstrate in this video. Thanks for your attention and see you on our next project.